G'day YouTube, Warbles on a lot here. Second week of spring 2013, and of course last weekend Australia elected Tony Abbott's Liberal National government, and Tony Abbott is of the climate science is absolute crap unquote party. And it's a bit interesting, when we went to the election on Saturday I don't think there were any fires burning in New South Wales. But the wattle had bloomed a month early, and we just had, you know, the warmest 4 months in a row on record for winter in the history of record keeping. Tony Abbott gets elected on Sunday and fires start happening in New South Wales. First day he was in, you know, we had like 10 or 20 fires and 5 of them were out of control. Second day it was 20 or 30 fires and 15 or so of them were out of control. Third day, I think there was 25 fires out of control, and there were maybe 60 of them. Fourth day, we're looking 60 or 70 fires in New South Wales, and 20 or 30 of them are out of control. So I woke up this morning, and I don't know whether you can see that out there, but there's an awful lot of smoke between me and the horizon. So I decided it might be a good day to find out how much water and air had leaked out in 2 years. And I got a very pleasant surprise. This thing was actually full of water. None of it had leaked out. I didn't need to empty it, and I'm now halfway through filling it back up. It's full of water. I've done my standard usual trick of filling it first, 130 litres, and then laying the hose out, putting a little bit of compressed air in, pumping water through the hose, switching off, and then replacing the water in the tank that is now in the hose. So instead of 130 litres, I get 135. It's only an extra 1 gallon of water, but you never know. So, for those of you who missed the first movie on this delightful bit of gear, there's a bubble of compressed air sitting on top of the water. This pipe goes all the way down to the bottom, and it's a Wormhole Brothers proprietary limited simplex fire extinguisher, and these wheels are just barely off the ground. And in theory, when somebody crashes their fabric covered biplane and turns themselves into a fireball on your grass runway, and runways are flat and smooth, the people who've got hero juice in their teacups, they run and they grab a hold of this thing, they pull it over towards themselves, and they run off, hanging onto the handles. And when they get to the here-we-go plane on fire, you stand her up and you've got 10 metres, and for a couple of minutes you're as good as a fire truck. There's a very special fancy little nozzle down there. It's just designed for fighting fuel fires, but it's got a few features that I like. One of them is that you can put about 1/3 of the water back all over the poor bugger who's fighting the fire. So here we have a battery. We're showing 13.5 volts. I suppose I better go back there and connect the thing before I... There we go. You ever tried to do that one-handed while filming? Okay, 13.2 is a full battery, and as I like everybody to get a giggle out of, the paint job on the car is not much good, but the solar thermal ramjet's in perfect condition. And the sunfoil is making about 1.2 amps at 12 volts. The air compressor is sucking around about 4.7 amps. So 15 minutes on, 15 minutes off, 15 minutes on, 15 minutes off. That allows the pump to cool down. Doesn't put too much strain on the battery. And after an hour, we should have 100 psi on top of the bubble. So, maybe all the people who voted against the Greens could be considered to have voted in favour of continuing to burn coal and oil and ignoring the menacing threat of anthropogenic global warming, and therefore thus and because it's probably not going to be terribly surprising if Gaia's revenge consists of burning them. And any of them who don't get burned in the fire will probably get washed away in the flash flood that'll put the fire out afterwards. It's a bit of a rough and ready system, but what can you do? It is a democracy, and if people want to vote to be burned, vote to be cooked, vote to be crisped, that is their right. We only got to look back in history and what happened when the people in Hamburg and Dresden and Cologne, Nuremberg, Essen, Hanover, Schweinfurt, Stuttgart, what happened when they voted to get cooked? And they were deliriously happy with their choice of leader. Well, they got bloody cooked, didn't they? 40,000 in one night at Hamburg. I wonder how many Liberal National Party people are going to be cheering for Tony Abbott after he's led us into anthropogenic global warming by selling as much coal and burning as much oil as he can possibly bloody organise because he thinks he can grow the economy. It just hasn't sunk in that the economy is stuffed and trashing the environment won't fix the economy. So why bother trashing the environment? Why not preserve the environment so that there's some of it left when the economy has gone away? Because it's going to be a bloody sight easier to live with a functional environment and no economy than it is with no economy and no environment either. And for the record, for those sticklers for procedure and protocol, I would like to point out that none of my personal protective equipment nor the sacred symbology of the New South Wales Rural Fire Service was placed anywhere near my obsolete, outdated, unauthorised, non-standard airport firefighter.